Welcome back. I've been out of town for a few days visiting my 90-year-old father. So it's been a few days since I got a video up. Normally I'll be uploading probably twice a week, like Wednesday, Saturday, but that didn't happen this week because ultimately family comes first. So this week I have a story for you, and that story is the history of the Mass Effect universe right up to the beginning of the events of Mass Effect 1. So it sets the whole scene for you so that you're completely ready when the game comes out in less than 2 weeks now. And again, as I've said in many videos, right here is a spoiler warning. So if you don't want to know, stop watching right now. Because if you come to me later in the comments and you tell me you're annoyed that I gave spoilers, I might say I'm sorry, but it won't be because you got spoiled. Once upon a time, a race of super advanced beings known as the Leviathans dominated the Milky Way galaxy. They basically became overlords to all the other species in the galaxy, and they expected acknowledgement of their status as the apex species, but mostly they left the other species alone to flourish on their own under the Leviathans' protection. But over time, the Leviathans began to observe a repeated cycle where the species under the Leviathan control were creating synthetic life forms to serve their own needs, but those synthetic life forms inevitably surpassed their creators, eventually achieving their own self-awareness, and that predictably caused a lot of trouble for those species. So in order to break this cycle, the Leviathans created a super advanced synthetic life form of their own to monitor and intervene the lesser species, and they called that the Catalyst. The Catalyst was supposed to serve as a bridge between organic and synthetic life, but with the mandate to preserve organic life as its highest priority. The problem is, the Catalyst believed it to be inevitable that organics would create synthetics to improve their lives and thus be destroyed by their creations because synthetics will always eventually surpass their creators. The Catalyst's solution was to create its own synthetic life form that would monitor and collect organic life forms who are on the verge of being overtaken by their own synthetic creations, and then preserve them in a form that enabled the Catalyst to learn from them. The idea was that they would advance and elevate these species, preserve the species' genetic makeup, all its knowledge, and prevent them from going extinct at the hands of their own creations. Unfortunately, the Catalyst targeted its own creators first, basically wiping the Leviathans out and creating the first Reaper in the image of the Catalyst's own creator, the Leviathans. The Catalyst then decided to speed the development of promising species, and to do so built a network of mass relays to allow sufficiently advanced species to discover them and begin using them, and that usage would then signal the Reapers that it was time to harvest again. So, at 1 billion years BCE, a Reaper was defeated by the remaining Leviathans, but it didn't really matter at that point because the Leviathans had become virtually extinct, and the cycle of harvesting sufficiently advanced organic life every 50,000 years or so had already begun. Every new species harvested becomes a new Reaper ship. Sometime later, the Prothean civilization achieved spaceflight and discovered the mass relay network from the ruins of an ancient civilization they had been studying. The Protheans began spreading out across the galaxy, and they then discovered the station that they started using as their capital, and they called it the Citadel. At some point later, the Protheans encountered a hostile intelligence that threatened their existence, and in order to fight it off, they decided it would be best to unite all sentient organic life in the galaxy under the Protheans' rule, and they would assimilate them into Prothean culture. So they then started observing primitive species like humans, and they put outposts near the homeworlds of those primitive species in order to monitor them. At about 48,000 years BCE, the Protheans were caught completely off guard by the Reapers when they appeared in the Milky Way galaxy, and unfortunately, the Protheans uniting all the lesser species under their own control came back to bite them because the Reapers took out the Protheans first, and everything else just toppled easily after them. Right before they were basically made extinct, the Protheans stopped all of their study of primitive species in the hope that the Reapers would then see them as a more primitive species themselves and leave them alone, but that did not work, and the Protheans were completely wiped out. Some of those captured Protheans were subjected to experimentation, and they had their genes altered by the Reapers, and the result was the new species called the Collectors, who served the Reapers. In about 13,000 BC, the Turians began to develop civilization on their own planet, Palaven, and a little after that, the Krogans entered the nuclear age, which unfortunately resulted in a global conflict that decimated their planet and triggered a nuclear winter. After that, the Krogan society basically devolved into a series of warring tribes fighting over the wasteland that was their planet by then. In 580 BC, the Asari developed faster-than-light travel by studying leftover Prothean technology, and they then became the first civilization since the Protheans to discover the Citadel space station. A little after that, the Solarians discovered the Citadel, and they opened diplomatic relations with the Asari, and together with the Asari, the Solarians formed what is now known as the Citadel Council. In around 300 BCE, first contact was made by the Volus, the Batarians, the Hanar, and the Quarians, and those races were then granted embassies at the Citadel, although they were not put on the Citadel Council. In year 1 CE, the Citadel forces had an expedition that opened a relay to the systems controlled by a species of intelligent insects called the Rachni. The Rachni had already been discovered by the Protheans, and the Protheans had used them as weapons in their wars. They were difficult to control and basically were fighting back against their masters all the time, so the Protheans all but eradicated them. So by this time, the Rachni had already studied the mass relays, and they used what they knew to capture the Council spaceships and reverse engineer technology in order to expand out of their own star system into Citadel territory, and that started the Rachni Wars. 80-ish years later, the Citadel Council failed to negotiate successfully with the Rachni, and at around the same time, the Solarians made first contact with the Krogan and decided to give them advanced technology, in return for which the Krogan were manipulated into fighting the Rachni on behalf of the Council. In around 300 CE, the Rachni were declared extinct after the Krogan basically eradicated the queens and all the eggs they could find. So the Council rewarded the Krogan with their own homeworld. And because it was no nuclear war and they had their own lands, the Krogan began to populate that world, and their numbers began to grow at such a rate that the Council became worried about them. So several years later, the Council founded the Special Tactics and Reconnaissance Branch to deal with what they were now calling the Krogan problem. In the year 700 CE, the Krogan rebellions began when the Krogans decided to colonize the Asari world of Lucia, and they refused to leave. The Spectres launched a preemptive strike against them. The Council made contact with the Turians and convinced them to fight for the Council against the Krogan, and in return, the Krogan army devastated the Turian colonies. In year 710 CE, the Turians released a bioweapon that had been developed by the Solarians called the genophage. This caused a genetic mutation in the Krogan pregnancies that resulted in only 1 in 1,000 births being successful, and so their populations began to decline at a precipitous rate. In about the year 800 CE, the Krogan rebellions ended because the Krogan population was nearly decimated. And about 100 years later, as a thank you for their role in dealing with the Krogans, the Turians were rewarded by becoming the first species to be granted a seat at the Citadel Council. And then everything was peaceful for several hundred years. But then, in the year 1600 CE, in the Terminus systems, the collectors are seen. Unfortunately, the Citadel dismisses those reports as myths. And at around the same time, the Quarians developed their own synthetic species and called them the Geth, and they intended them to serve as a labor force and basically be slaves. And just a few years later, the Geth records record the first instance of a Geth unit daring to ask if the Geth have souls. And not long after that, the Geth became self-aware. The Quarians by this time were frightened of their slaves, and so they decided to start dismantling them, but it was too late. The Geth revolted, and the Quarians were driven off their own homeworld and reduced to becoming nomads aboard a giant fleet that just migrated from system to system. But the Geth did not try to expand beyond their empire. They just chose to isolate themselves. The Citadel Council was not happy with the Quarians, and as punishment, they closed their embassy. In 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon, and in 2069 CE, the Armstrong Outpost at Shackleton Crater was founded as the first human settlement on the moon. In 2077 CE, Liara Tassoni was born. In 2137 CE, David Anderson was born. In 2146, Thane Krios was born. And in 2148, humanity discovered the remnants of Prothean technology hidden in a research station beneath the surface of Mars. And using the Prothean technology, it was discovered that Pluto's moon, Charon, is actually a mass relay. John Grissom led the first team of human explorers through the relay and landed on Arcturus, 36 light-years away. That discovery led to the 18 biggest nations of Earth to form the Systems Alliance. In 2150 CE, Miranda Lawson was born. In 2154 CE, on April 11th, Shepard was born. And 2155, Joker Moreau is born. In 2157, humans activated a dormant mass relay and got attacked by a group of Turians, because after the Rachni Wars hundreds of years earlier, it had been declared forbidden to open up new mass relays. Unfortunately, this conflict became the First Contact War, but the war culminated when the Citadel Council intervened, and the humans were gobsmacked to discover that there was a large galactic community, and shortly after, an anonymous manifesto was published on the internet calling for an army, a quote-unquote Cerberus, to defend humanity against alien attacks. The manifesto was quickly forgotten, but the human mercenary who wrote it, named Jack Harper, decided to change his moniker to the Elusive Man, and he founded the company Cerberus. And at around this same time, Ashley Williams was born. Between 2160 and 2165 CE, humanity developed biotic implants and trained human candidates to use them. Talizora Naraya is born. Jack was born. A survey team working for a Batarian entrepreneur discovered a weird artifact orbiting a planet near the Perseus Veil, which turned out to be the Reaper known as Sovereign. Also within this time frame, humanity was granted an embassy on the Citadel, and sent Sarian Octarius and David Anderson to investigate an illegal research project involving an ancient artifact near the Perseus Veil. But Sarian betrayed Anderson, blamed him for the mission's failure, and set out to find the artifact for himself. And by this time, Shepard had enlisted in the Alliance military, and in 2183 CE, humans and Turians collaborated on an experimental spaceship with an advanced stealth system. That ship was called the SSV Normandy, and it was to be captained by David Anderson. And Anderson, along with Shepard and the crew of the Normandy, were sent to the human colony of Eden Prime to recover a recently discovered Prothean beacon. And that brings us right to the beginning of Mass Effect 1. And there you have it, a brief history of the Mass Effect universe leading up to the events of Mass Effect 1. Have a great week. I'll have another video up in a few days, and enjoy your day. Bye.